Hey, this is Tony Purcell, founder of Team Awake, and welcome to Team Awake TV. This is episode 1 of Team Awake TV. So this is the kickoff. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about what Team Awake TV is all about. We're also going to tell you exactly how to access limitless energy, creativity, and potential. So that's what you have to look forward to today in the kickoff and very first episode of Team Awake TV. So first of all, what is Team Awake TV all about? You know, one of the main things we're going to talk a lot about is higher consciousness, self-awareness and consciousness. And one of the problems with that conversation is it seems like the only people talking about that are boring old dudes. I mean, not anything against them, because I personally don't think they're at all boring. I'm the kind of guy who, when we're driving and it's getting like really late at night, we're on a road trip, it's getting really late, I'm getting really tired, I'm struggling to keep my eyes open, doing like the head nod thing, I will turn on one of these boring old guys and it will keep me awake. I'll get more awake and I'll sit up straight. My wife will go to sleep in a second when I turn those on. But for me, it will actually wake me up more because it's so intriguing to me and so interesting to me. The problem, though, is that most people are like my wife. They turn it on and boom, that quick, they fall asleep. How do I know? Because I've been studying these guys, and it's not just guys, but it seems like a lot of old guys and some girls, but typically it's like kind of a boring conversation when people talk about it, and they don't see how it's relevant to life and applicable. And so I eat this stuff up. I love it. I live and die for this stuff, and I share it with somebody else. I say, hey, you've got to listen to this book. You've got to listen to this audio. And nobody gets through it. They either turn it on and fall asleep, or they turn it on and get bored and turn the radio back on. So here's what Team Awake TV is all about. We're going to talk about principles of higher consciousness, principles of self-awareness. We're going to talk about personal development. We're going to talk about spirituality. And we're going to talk about how all those things apply to life. So we're going to talk about money, we're going to talk about body, we're going to talk about relationships. We're also going to talk about things like TV and movies and the lessons that we learn from those. And so we're just going to talk, ultimately, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about living an awakened life, and we're going to talk about how it practically applies to everyday life. We're going to talk about the real and practical applications of living an awakened life. And that is what Team Awake TV is all about. So for episode 1, I promised I was going to teach you about how to access limitless energy, creativity, and potential. And I'm going to tell you a really simple story. I've got my computer right here. I work from this every day. I can literally run my entire business, 2 things, a cell phone and a computer. I can go anywhere in the world and run my business. However, you take one of those out of the equation, I'm pretty limited, especially my computer. So I want to tell you something happened the other day that a couple weeks ago actually with this right here. I mean, this is so simple. Now, I want to talk about this computer. I'm not just trying to sell you this computer because, everyone who's a Mac owner tries to sell you their Mac. I'm not going to do that. I'm just trying to tell you, computers are super powerful. Compare this computer that I have right now to the computers that existed 50 years ago. I mean, these computers that couldn't do 1/10 of what this does, that would take up an entire building, So to have so much power in such a small space, I mean, I can get my message, I can share this message right now to thousands of people through my computer, because my computer can access the internet, and through the internet I can not only share my message and change thousands of people's lives, but I can also receive tons and tons of information. I can learn so much. I can do everything through my computer. There's so much that this little machine can do. And one day, one little part of the machine malfunctioned, this tiny little part. It's not even part of the machine. I mean, this is an external part. This is the power cord. And it's got this nifty little magnetic thing where I just hold it up to the spot and it clicks right in. And that stopped working. It still had the magnetic part, so it'd click in, but there was something wrong with the little sensors in there. They weren't connecting. And that was that small of a thing. They weren't connecting, and guess what happened? Well, I kept using my computer, of course, and it started running out of juice. It started running out of battery. Now, computers are, laptops are made to have a battery life, so I can shut this down. I can go to, Panera Bread or, coffee shop or something. I can sit there and I can do work from anywhere because it's got a battery life, but eventually that runs out. And if I lose my ability to plug in, seems like such a simple thing and such a tiny, minuscule little problem, but I lost my ability to connect source, and my whole computer became totally worthless. Now, I would say it was good for nothing more than a paperweight, but man, a paperweight would be so much. Paperweights are better than this. It wouldn't even make a good paperweight because it's like way too big and bulky. Maybe I could hit somebody with it, use it as a weapon, but it's not a very effective weapon. I'm saying it's a worthless piece of nothing without the ability to connect to its power source. And what I learned from that and what I took from that was that we're the exact same way. We are limitless, infinite beings. And when we don't connect to our power source, we become totally useless. I want you to just take a look around the world today and look at the amount of violence and the amount of anger and the amount of fighting and the amount of conflict and the amount of stress and the amount of worry and the amount of problems and ultimately the amount of pain that exists. I'll tell you exactly what that looks like to me. To me, that looks like a lot of limitless beings with enormous potential who've lost this one little piece, this connector, this ability to connect to their source. Now, what is their source? You can use whatever term. You'll learn that I'm here to help you grow and progress. And sometimes in spiritual conversations, people get very limited because they have very small differing beliefs about the name of God, or whether you say God, or you say the Creator, or whether you say Father, or whether you say Allah, or whatever it is. And people get so caught up on, well, I have a different name for that same being, that we're so limited spiritually. And one of the things that we stand for here at Team Awake and at Team Awake TV is about letting everybody be their own person and let you believe what you believe. And I'm not here to say, everything, whatever you have is wrong. I'm here to say, look, take what you know and what you have, what you believe in, and let's just increase it. Let's add to it. So when I use words like Creator, or whether I say God, or whether I say Father, or whatever, if those particular terms don't work for you, then that's okay. Just substitute what term works for you. Because there is one infinite being. And whatever we refer to him as, look, let's stop fighting about the name and let's just work on all together getting closer. Okay, so what happens with most people is, even though people talk about God and they talk about this infinite being, or whatever they call this person, they talk about, or this being, whether you call it a person or a being or whatever, we talk about this being a lot. And a lot of people have very, very strong convictions about that being. And very few people have ever really, truly experienced and fully connected with that being. Which is kind of ironic, because every spiritual tradition, every spiritual book is a writing of somebody saying, look, this is my experience with connecting to deity. And we somehow get this interpretation that that means that the reason why they wrote it down was because we can never have that experience, so we need to learn from their experience. And it's not that at all. They wrote those things down to help us get to the same place that they were at, to help us connect to our source. And all the stuff that's going on in society is not a reflection of a very small number of people who are violent or angry. What it is, our society is a reflection of the collective whole. It's a collection of everybody's thoughts, everybody's mindsets, everybody's beliefs, everybody's mindset, all jumbled up together, and we've got what we've got now. And again, that's an indication to me of a lot of people, these limitless, infinite, divine beings, who are not connected. And so that is the answer to limitless energy, limitless creativity, limitless potential. Is just figure out this little piece. Figure out how to get connected. How to get connected. Now, how do you do that? I mean, how do you get connected like that? There are a lot of ways. Here's what I would tell you. The best advice I could give you on that is stop trying so hard to go somewhere to get that connection. Yeah, listen to people who have, good advice and who have been where you want to be. Yeah, listen and learn from them. But the answer to really, really finding God and really connecting with God is to take this thing called your mind that is thinking endless thoughts and to just turn it down for a little bit. Just turn it off. Again, every spiritual tradition teaches the necessity of just being still and being quiet and just listening carefully. In the Old Testament, it says God was not in the wind or in the fire or in the earthquake. God was in the still, small voice. The Bible also tells us to be still and know that I am God. So the lesson for Team Awake TV today is connect to your source. Find your power source and connect to it, because that's the first step to truly accessing your potential. If you don't have that, eventually you'll run out of power, you'll run out of energy, and you will go unconscious and be completely asleep and useless compared to what your real potential is. And how do you do that? You be still and you be quiet. So here's what I'm going to recommend, a couple things I'm going to invite you to do. And number one, that is subscribe. Either, depending on where you're seeing this video, there's a couple things you can do. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe. You can go to Facebook and like me on Facebook. Maybe you're watching this on Facebook. Just like me or be friends with me on Facebook so that we can keep in touch. Subscribe to my RSS feed and get on my email list. Now, you may already be on my list and done a couple of those things. Fantastic. I just invite you to keep coming back. Keep coming back and watching these episodes of Team Awake TV, because I promise that I am going to teach you incredible principles and incredible truths. And most importantly, not just teach you these vague concepts, but teach you how they make sense and how to apply them in your life. I'd also invite you to just learn a little bit more about Team Awake and what Team Awake really is. So depending on where you're watching this, there'll be a link below or to the side or somewhere around this video to tell you about what Team Awake is. I invite you to learn more. And of course, I invite you to join us in Team Awake. And at the very least, again, just come back and keep watching these episodes of Team Awake TV. Again, this is Tony Purcell, the founder of Team Awake and founder of Team Awake TV. And thank you for coming for our first episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon.